Hey everybody, it's Sunday night.
It's
We are here
almost
with
9 p.m.
Mo and Katie hit record and see what happens. And
Yes.
so here we are, our second one of the new year. So far so good. Consistency in 2026.
Man, we're like 2 for 2.
Look at us go.
I know. How many have
Kind
we done before that, though? We've been doing pretty good.
I think we did pretty well. I don't think we really missed any. We moved
Yeah.
one the week we were in uh Charleston,
Charleston, we did it on Monday.
moved one, but yeah,
Anyway, so here's to consistency. I, I,
yay.
I wish I wish somebody a happy new year today, and they said, well, something about Epiphany being done, and so we,
Yeah.
we didn't have to say that anymore. I'm like, okay, grumpy pants. So, happy Epiphany. What am I supposed to say?
I'm usually good like 2 weeks. I mean, I think we have a couple more days and then we just kind of own that we're fully in January.
Happy Groundhog's Day, everyone.
That's coming. And I was at the store and it's like all Valentine stuff now.
That's fair. That's next month.
It's yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's just over 4 weeks away. So do you know what I'm doing on Valentine's Day, Mo? I know it's weird to
Something
call you Mo.
Jewish,
I
I
don't
hope.
call you Mo. I call you Moe. Yeah, I'm playing at a bar mitzvah on
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, which I think
Wait,
is a
is the
lot.
bar mitzvah when the it's
No. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all a little context.
they all know what
So,
that meant.
Mo and I were in Chicago and we got to train with Laura Hall from Who's Line and her husband Rick. Lovely people, amazing. And we were doing a scene with them during the training, and it took place at a bar mitzvah. Well, we found out that Mo does not understand what a bar mitzvah is. She thought it was a bris, which is very different. I
Listen,
believe bris is around the circumcision. All we're going to
maybe
say
it's
about that.
around it.
We'll cut that subject right there.
What do you mean it's around it?
It, I think it is the event surrounding that happening. A bar mitzvah is when a Jewish young person turns, I believe it's 13, and they're now considered to be entering manhood or womanhood.
Well, why don't they call it a quinceañera like everybody else?
Because everyone knows quinceañera translates to 13.
Well, do you know that not a lot of people think a quinceañera means I'm gonna cut the piñata off, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway,
We are off.
this was also the time. The only thing I remember about that, I still don't know what a brisket is or the quinceañera, but remember I was holding the pizza. I was holding an imaginary pizza box, and the what do you call it,
She was
downstage? Is
holding
that
it
right?
downstage, yeah. So it was blocking, yeah.
And so Laura Hulk, I'll never forget this. She comes up and the whole point was that she was moving the pizza box and saying that I shouldn't let this object block my face. And so she came up and she goes, put that in the other hand. And like, I'm like,
She
her
could have
object
said,
was,
Mo, use your other hand to hold the pizza. But she didn't. She came up and grabbed the imaginary pizza box and handed it to Mo in her other hand. It was, I think, one of the favorite moments of all time of my life. It was just so amazing.
so the problem is when I hear brisket or Jewish bar mitzvah, I think pizza and it's terrible. I know they're not the same. But anyway, I'm not at 100% wattage tonight, so
Mo's
that's
not
also
doing
contributing.
it. Poor Moe. Poor
Anyway,
sweet Moe.
so on Valentine's Day, you're going to be at a non-circumcision
A bar mitzvah. I'm going to be
bar mitzvah.
playing the piano at a bar mitzvah. That's
Nice.
all. That's all I had to say.
Now, the week before Valentine's Day, what are we doing?
We have a Galentine's Day show on the 7th of February.
Yes. Now,
It's
Galentine's is normally the 13th. It's the day
and the
before.
last time we did our show was on the 9th of February, so we're kind of sticking
Yeah.
with our tradition. But
Because a lot of people like to start to pregame a weekend.
that's
So, and
right.
plus the next day is the Super
Well,
Bowl
dry January's over by then, so you can maybe have a libation.
or six. Yeah.
Yeah, so we love the Galentine's Day show. It is open to all, but we tend to play to the female population and celebration of friends and girlfriends and all the fun things.
But you know what? I was thinking about this because we were talking about, like guys are welcome, and we had one guy I think last time
We
plus the
did.
tech guy. But I think a lot of times when I hear someone is excluded, it's because we're gonna like male bash or something, and we're not. It's like the opposite of it, right? So men are welcome. Men
At their own
usually won't
risk.
come not because we're bashing them, but because we're lifting up other women. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a fun show, and what I like about it is it's like we've done a back to school show, and what I like about it is the back to school or the Galentines. They're not the traditional holidays you would celebrate or go to a show
Yeah.
for. And that's what I like
Yeah.
about that because I always
Yeah.
have to have a theme. So
I
Christmas,
love it.
Thanksgiving, back to school, Valentine's Day.
And we worked it's kind of funny because we've done the Galentine's Day show before. We liked how it went.
Hmm.
And we had this idea that we're like, oh, we're good. But
Yeah.
we spent a whole lot of time the last time we were together working, which was this past Friday. We actually spent quite a bit of time completely punching up and reworking two elements. We have a parody that we had written, and we there was an element of it we didn't care for, so we rewrote a good part of it
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
And we also do, if you've ever been to any of our shows, you know that we have an element of Mad Libs that we love to work in. And when I'm not going to say what we're doing with the Mad Lib this time, but it's similar to what we did last time, but we just knew that we could do it better. There were a couple of things about it that could have just been done so it would all land better. So we spent some time and we love to rehearse the Mad Libs. So we actually put in our own
Jenny
words
Jenny
and
likes it when we rehearse the Mad Libs.
we up in the loft and like, Jenny, give us an adjective. She's just yelling words up at us. So yeah, we
But
actually
what
spent quite a bit of time reworking the
Yeah.
elements that we already thought were done. So
Yeah. What I really appreciate too, though, Katie, is working with you. Is yeah, we had a solid like run a show, and I think we initially talked. We're like, hey, we'll just do the same elements because even if we do the exact same elements, they're different because of what's going on in the world, and they're different because of the gives that we get from the audience. But I love how we kind of we hot washed it after we did it. We're like, yeah, it
yeah,
was good, and then we kind of hot washed it again, saying, yeah, it was good, but we could up level this, and I love how we do that. And the other thing I really love is, and I'm still like geeked out full bore to um full stop, and the whole thing about I apologize, I'm just like, and the
no,
whole thing about full stop is it's all about connection, and I think that every time that we go through our scripts and we look to up level something, the thing that we're up leveling is how do we connect more? Like, there, even when we used to run trivia,
hmm,
there are these cool trivia places. They've got apps and stuff like this, and you're on your phone or things like that, and that's really cool. And I love techie stuff like that.
yeah,
But I think every time we look at things, we look at things through a lens of like how can we connect more, and how can we connect with each other? How can we connect with the audience? How can the
yeah,
audience connect with the event? And how can the audience connect with each other? And so I think a lot of times, as techie as I am, I love that we have these really analog ways. And so one of the things we talked about
yeah,
was when we harvest words for our Mad Lib. There have been times where like, give me a noun, give me a verb. But the latest thing I think that is again we've up leveled by down teching things, but by just putting a piece of butcher paper and writing
yeah,
noun adjective and people coming up during halftime and writing down their
yeah,
noun, and again it's in their own handwriting. There's this
yeah,
analog nature of it.
yeah,
There's this
yeah,
line of people waiting to put down their verb, and there's this team. It's just this connective thing,
yeah.
and so I love that every time that we do something and fine tune it, it's to fine tune how do we get more connectivity in there, and I love that. I just absolutely love that we don't just dust
Yeah.
something off and do the same thing. So
And there's a lot of and this is one thing I love about you, Moe, and the way that we work together too, is there's a lot of psychological stuff I think that goes behind that too.
hmm
So I think there's something really powerful about ownership. And especially when connection is the goal and audience participation is naturally part of that connection.
Yeah.
So someone knowing that they've contributed, and so we purposely leave the words up on display in someone's own handwriting, and they know, okay, they're getting ready to say a word that I contributed. Like there's
Right.
something really psychological about that that is very like satisfying and
Ownership.
has a pay. Yeah, there's an ownership to it.
Yeah.
And I also love how much like I love making the Mad Libs because there's a science to it. Because there are certain words, first of all, if you're doing something that's a poem or a song, if you don't preserve rhyme scheme, then you lose some of the magic of the originality of it. So there's certain words you can't mess with because you mess with rhyme scheme. And
But it's
then
not it's not even just rhyme scheme. It's the pattern. Like, so for example, favorite things.
yeah,
There are words that we keep intact not because of the rhyme scheme, but because of the, we always, well, we always
connection
parody
with the song.
favorite things, but there are certain things that have to stay.
Like the chorus is always has to be when the
Yeah.
and yeah, like because yeah. So there's something that grounds it as familiar, but then you mess with it enough to make it funny. And it's I just love doing a deep dive into why you have to do things a certain way and why it works and what makes it effective. You can't just rip a bunch of words out and sub them out. It doesn't work that way.
Well, and we also, because we've had some Mad Libs that didn't go well, we did a recipe one year,
Yep.
and it didn't go well because
Terrible.
it was just nonsense, right? So, I mean, yeah, we had a bunch of words like, okay, mix 1/4 cup ground, French
Yeah.
bulldog, but the things that we have found they have to be really well known or really recognizable and have a repetitive. I mean, there's just so many. Yeah, like I love that science behind it too, but
Yeah. And,
we
and
geek out hard. I mean, it's like when we're in rehearsal mode, it's like we should record a lot more because it's just the geekiest things that we say.
but we also our rehearsal Friday also got a little ridiculous because another thing
No.
that I know, shocking. Another thing that Mo and I do, and I believe we are the only people in the world that do this to our knowledge, is we live sing Cards Against Humanity. And there's a science to that too. There are certain songs. So our default is Gilligan's Island, and it works because number one, it's easy for me to play and change keys on without making too many mistakes, though that's not always the case. But it's got an echo element. So again, it gives the audience ownership. I'm sorry, I'm getting like super geeky about this stuff today. So
Love it.
we decided for the Galentine's Day show, because the centers around love and friendship and all of this stuff, that we were trying to find
And all
something
that
that was
crap.
like a love song, all that crap. So we were playing around with some new tunes and trying the
Did we land
cards.
on one?
I think we landed on I Can't Help Falling in Love with You is
Okay.
where we landed, I think. But we tried Sweet Caroline because it's got that
Ba, ba.
and 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 it's got one part where the crowd repeats back the last word that was just sung. I know exactly what.
So the card that ended up on what the audience would repeat was cocaine. So it was like
We were up in
cocaine,
the loft yelling cocaine,
cocaine,
and
and
just
and
about
it
peeing our
never
pants
once
laughing.
phased Jen at all. She's like, yeah, they're yelling cocaine.
We'll hear her giggle once in a while. But yeah, so again, there are songs that work and there are songs that don't, and there are very specific reasons that and that's I love that stuff. I just love geeking out. Sorry, a little tense there. I just love geeking out though about what, like, you and I will even watch comedians, or we'll watch something that's funny and we'll stop and talk about why it was funny or
Mhm.
why it wasn't funny, how it could have been funnier, because we're
Yeah,
comedy snobs too.
yeah, yeah.
But
You
one
know,
of
it'd
my
be great
favorite
as if you
things,
had done this. Yeah, yeah.
one of my new favorite things, I have Sirius Radio in my car, and I have the Conan O'Brien station, and on Sunday mornings there's a comedian, her name is Laurie Kilmartin, and she plays a bunch of clips of stand up and people who've performed on Conan and people associated with them, but she talks about why their humor landed the way that it did, like the formula that they use, or the way that they wrap around a punchline, or the way they pause in unexpected places. So I told Mel, I said, please start listening to this show. It's so good because it's about why it's funny.
Does she ever talk about why something doesn't work, or she only do the positive examples?
She'll say things like, you can tell the audience was uncomfortable with this part and didn't know what to do with it. Like, she'll say things like that. But she also frames up like references of, like, this morning, that's what I listened to on my way to church. This morning, she was talking about the time frame that this joke was told. It was like in like the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And just at the time the show is on, and how audience, like, she really unpacks why something worked or why it didn't. And it's like the science of humor. It is fascinating to me. So
No,
yeah, but I love that you and I are very, like, we're very simpatico and on the same page with how we like to geek out about it, and I just love it. I just love it.
No.
Makes me
Well,
happy.
it's interesting. I've been listening to some podcasts because one of the things we're trying to do is we're trying to be guests on other people's podcasts. So we listen to their podcasts and get a feel for whether we'd be a good fit, and then we apply. So in listening to some, totally lost my train of thought.
Podcasts.
Yeah, it was before that.
We're talking about humor, why things are funny.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There was a comedian who it just so happened that 3 of the podcasts I listened to, and all the podcasts, so in my business, it's all about humor as a high performance tool, because I believe that humor is a high performance tool, not just an entertainment thing.
Yeah.
So I ended up listening to 3 different podcasts, and it just so happened that this one guy I ended up catching, because I listened to a bunch of episodes of each of those podcasts. He was on 2 of the 3 podcast episodes I listened to. What was fascinating to me was the first time I heard him, he phrased something, and he said something like an aside, like it was, and it was funny. But he did the exact same thing with the exact same pause and the exact same aside in another. I mean, they were months apart, the dates of when he did it, and they were different podcasts. And I think it's unusual that I just happened to catch that and remember that and catalog that. But it also reminded me about how calculated comedy can be. I mean, I think a lot of times, and I know how rehearsed you and I are, and as unscripted as we are, there is a lot of scripting to the magic and to the energy of it. And I was even listening to who's not Kim Jong Il, who's the, good Lord, such a bad Asian. Who's the Korean guy who was a doctor? He's on The Masked Singer. He was on The Hangover. He's a, huh?
Ken Jeong.
Yeah, see, I was close.
Love him. I love him.
Well, he was on Willie Geist today, and even
I want to go back and watch that.
Even just hearing him talk about things, he was talking about how he behaves on The Masked Singer, and he was talking about, he goes, yeah, I just try to be the dumbest, most unenlightened one on there, and he goes, I'll just say things, but I have to make it sound like, but even basically what he was getting at is that there is a calculatedness to how he behaves, and he performs. He's performing, on the show. And so it was just really fascinating because, and you know this, I don't think I've ever given the same talk twice, but I do tell stories very similarly, but I probably feel bad for you the most, because you have heard so many of my talks and so many of my stories, and so many of my jokes.
I like look forward to, like, oh, it's this story. I love this story. It's so good.
But there's a certain, and you've always made the point, because I'm always like, oh, I got to change this story. I got to change this, whatever. But you also made the point too, where you go to a concert and you don't expect the band to play the song in a completely, unrealistic or completely different way that they can't sing along and everything else like that. So. Anyway.
Matter of fact, I think people actually prefer that it's a certain way. Like it's the way you want to hear, the way you want to hear it. But you also have a really beautiful gift, Moe, for bringing out different points in the same story. Like you've got this arsenal of stories, all 100% true, and or at least 99, and you can make that story about leadership, or you can make that story about connection. Like you're really good at pulling different things, and even your signature, like your I don't know, methodologies, your suck, squeeze, bang, blow, and fight for centerline. Like I've seen you teach those things and use different stories but still drive the point home, and it's really brilliant. Like I absolutely love it. I love to see you like up level a story each time you go to tell it. It's so cool. So I've gotten
That's
to
fun.
do like several, like I've gotten to like you've done some of the similar gigs like year after year, and I get to go and just watch you up level each time, and it's
No, I
it's
appreciate that.
really amazing. Yeah,
It's
it's
fun.
really cool.
It's fun. Yeah,
Isn't it cool what we get to do?
huh?
Isn't it cool what we get to do?
I know. But so it was interesting you say that, right? So and this will all tie together, hopefully, maybe not, who knows.
Okay.
Um,
I
but
was a little sick.
yeah, man, I'll tell you what, man, something's kicking my butt. Um, but the thing that I learned recently is called sympathetic resonance,
Mm.
and it is fascinating to me, and so I just did a video today talking about it, but basically the idea is there if you have two tuning forks which that are identical, and they both, like, you hit one and you're going to get the same pitch, the other note, but you can hit one and not hit this one, dampen this one, and this one will be resonating the same tone because of the energy transference. Because I used to think energy was this big woo woo thing, but like that is scientific. You can see it, you can hear it, you can witness it, the transference of energy. And I've always thought, I don't know if I told you this, one of the talks I've always wanted to write is the soundtrack of your life, in that the way you walk into a room or the way you carry yourself into a conversation, you're blaring a soundtrack, which is the same thing as sympathetic resonance, because you are carrying a tone, you are striking a tone.
Absolutely.
And I'm just like, if somebody had said that earlier, I would have understand this energy woo woo stuff and not thought it was woo woo. But
Well, I deal with, I mean, energy to me is a lot like sound waves.
hmm
And I obviously deal with that a lot in my life. And I think one thing I told you that is true about a piano, especially a grand piano where the strings are exposed, is if I press down the damper pedal on my piano and it lifts all of the dampers, so the dampers keep the strings from vibrating, it lifts all the dampers and I can sing a pitch and the piano picks up that vibration. And you can actually hear, like if I were to hold it down and make a loud noise, then the strings of that pitch would pick up. And that's like harmonies. That's why harmonies work, because the wavelengths cross at certain intervals and cross in certain ways. And overtones, I'm fascinated by overtones, especially in the barbershop community. You get a chorus or a quartet that rings a chord that just really, really locks in. You hear an additional pitch that no one is singing.
mm.
Like it's the pitch is making sound, but no one is producing that sound. And it's
is
super
it
powerful. Like
is that
it's
how an undertone is created? The same way? Just, I
yeah,
mean,
because
because
it's frequencies of pitch that are being created by other frequencies.
so
So
is it just barbershop arrangements that create overtones, or can other chords? What is
other
it about barbershop music specifically?
It's because barbershop is such specific chords and intervals that are so tightly locked in. And because barbershop singers are taught to sing in a way that feeds into each other's sound,
Okay.
they're more prone to overtones. But I've heard choirs do overtones too. I mean,
Oh.
yeah, anyone producing pitch, but when it really rings, you can hear those. And sometimes they're like just as loud as the other notes being sung.
I have a
It's
hard time hearing them. I know people are
I
like,
know, I know. We talk about that, but I
yeah.
but I was talking to you about I have a lot of things that happen, and it's just mundane things, like daily things, where a name will come up in conversation with one of my students. We'll be talking about something, and then later that night on TV they'll mention someone on a story, and it won't be someone I talk about regularly.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was, a Broadway person I was talking to one of my kids about, and then that person happened to be on it. Like, it happens to me almost every day. Stuff like that happens. And things like happen, and I think there are people you resonate more with. Like you and I, so many times one of us will go to say something and the other one will go, I was just about to say
Yeah.
that exact same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you and same as you, like I was always kind of more, you're kind of conditioned to dismiss that stuff and not
Yeah.
entertain it. But we're we're people living on a planet, and we're breathing and moving, and of course, things are going to be produced, and it's, I think if you pay attention, you can lock into that stuff. So
Yeah. No, I think it's cool. Well, I mean, the one thing I had heard of is called the reticular activating system, so the
uh,
RAS. And the way to explain that is, let's say you're in the market for a new car, a Prius, and you've got your eye on Prius. All you're going to start noticing are Priuses.
yeah, yeah,
Pre-I? I don't know. A
yeah,
bunch of, anyway. But, or if you just bought a red car, then the thing you're going to start noticing is like and I think that's really powerful, because that means we can essentially buy the Prius or buy the red car and tune in, because we're always broadcasting a frequency, and so that's not optional.
yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
is voluntary is the frequency we broadcast. So again, you and I talk about, and I default to it. I'm not saying I'm going to go out and Pollyanna and be super positive all the time, because there's just times I just but
Oh, I've seen that.
oh, I know. Oh my God.
Two words: Atlanta Airport.
I know. Well, I was going to say out of Stella. Um, well, so I wrote an article today about when I was completely I was just out of frequency with my mom on a visit, and it was tearing me up, and it's just like I can keep broadcasting the same signal, but if it's not being received, or it's just backing up like this, you got to change the channel and change what you're broadcasting, because we're always broadcasting. We're always
Yeah.
Our tuning fork is always being, and I think I made this video and I'm pretty sure I said pitchfork instead of tuning fork.
No, you said tuning fork. I watched it. You're good.
Okay.
You're
I'm
good.
pretty sure I said pitchfork, but anyway, I had this Monpaw kettle thing. But I don't know, I just the more I learn about that. But okay, so going back to the piano. So because you currently have a student who's got perfect pitch. So
Yes.
when they hear a car horn, they know it's an F, or they hear a vacuum, they know it's a
I
whatever.
I laughed the other night, and she said the pitch of my laugh was a G, and she was right.
That's crazy.
That's when because I was kind of quizzing her, because she wasn't sure if she had perfect pitch or not. So I was kind of quizzing her, and then she said something, and I laughed, and she goes, "That was a G," and I was like, "Crap." Yeah, she's got perfect pitch. So she
Can she
hears.
come over to my house and tell me what tone my dog snores
She,
at?
she could. She could.
Yeah.
No, honestly, anything she hears in life to her registers as a letter name of a note
And we think
without
that's
any.
cool, but does that drive her nuts?
No, I mean, she appreciates it.
Oh, okay.
She's a good-natured kid. She's a great kid. She's a heck of a singer too.
Yeah.
But there goes my train of thought.
Woo
Um,
woo.
the definition of perfect pitch or absolute pitch is someone who can name a pitch without any reference point.
Okay.
So, like, if I go to sing a specific song that I've sung 100 times and I know exactly where that first note is, I can sing that note. And if I happen to know it's an A or whatever, it's fine. But I've got a frame of reference. It's not
Right.
like I can just pluck that note out of the
Right.
air without that frame of reference.
Yeah.
Or if someone plays another note, I can, hum a reference, an interval in reference to that, because I know how to hear that, but I have to have a frame of reference. So
Yeah. I have
she
a friend's
has.
son who's got perfect pitch.
And yeah, well,
But
people
so,
associate it with musicians, but there are non-musicians all over the place that have perfect pitch that aren't even, making music. It's
what
just
a
it's a
waste
thing.
of a gift.
I know, it's a thing you're born with. You're just it's like being left-handed, right-handed. It's just you're born with it. So
Genetically modify people for perfect pitch and right-handedness. Um, so here's a question I have. So let's say the damper pedal is depressed, which means the dampers are off. And
correct.
let's say you're vacuuming.
Hmm.
So when something is so like you know how sometimes you're doing something and something else is rattling, is that because it's the same frequency?
Yes. So, funny, actually, I haven't thought about this in a long time. When Matt and I lived in Ohio, we were pastoring this small church, and he played the drums and I played the keyboard on the worship team. There was one note on my keyboard. Every time I hit it, a part of the hardware of the drum would pick up this vibration. Like, so whenever I'd play this one certain pitch, it was just the way the speaker was set up and the frequency, the hi-hat stand would like zzz, it would like start to vibrate just as this one pitch. I haven't thought about that in a long time. So yeah, so if I were to sit with the sustain pedal depressed on my piano, and we were to talk and laugh, the louder the pitches are, you'd start to hear the strings vibrate because they would be picking up the frequencies of everything in the room.
Maybe this whole frequency thing is the explanation of ghosts. What people think are ghosts.
Could be.
It's not ghost, it's sympathetic resonance.
First, I thought you said goats.
You know, I might
Do
have.
you
I
believe
don't
in the
know.
existence of goats? They're real. That's not
You will be
bad.
met by the goat of Christmas past and the goat of Christmas present.
Well, on
Anyway,
that note,
yeah, on that goat,
I was,
all that to say is I'm still geeked out on Full Stop. I'm geeked out on the science behind what we do. We are more calculated, and I think than people would believe. But I do want to just put another pitch out there for sympathetic frequency, and remember that you are always broadcasting an energy or a frequency or an attitude, and that is not optional. But what is optional is the attitude, frequency, energy that you put out. So
yeah.
make it worth resonating with.
And come bring all of your positive resonance to Resonate.
Resonate Baltimore.
See what I did there? On the 7th for our Galentine's Day show. It is a 2 o'clock show, matinee. We will have snackle boxes, people.
Yes.
And it's going to be really, really fun.
It's a good show.
It is. I'm excited.
Awesome.
I'm excited.
Well, we'll put all that stuff on our socials, and thank you for listening. A special shout out to Megan in New Mexico.
Hi, Megan.
Yeah, I know she's always listening. I think she's on a vampire schedule, so when I wake up, there's a lot of text messages from her, so I appreciate that. And to our dear friend Carrie out
Yes.
in Colorado, who I'll get to see in
Carrie.
April. But
Aw, I
Anyway.
want to meet Carrie.
I know. Come out. Come on out.
Carrie and I we're tight, but we've never met each other.
I know it's awesome. I love that. So
Yeah, it's
anyway,
funny when I just met your niece recently. We hugged each other and we're like, have we really not met before? It's kind of cool.
it's awesome.
All
All right, well go resonate some great frequencies because you'll attract the other frequencies in other people and make
don't
their
forget to-
strings hum. I don't know.
Sure.
And
And watch for those full stop moments and really appreciate them.
and pizza at the Briss. Nope.
And that's it.
Okay, bye.
It's okay. Bye.
Bye.